holy name of the Lord. Number 2, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. 3, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scripture in reference to the Vedic version. 5, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be an imagination. 6, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. 8, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritual activities which are offered as in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. 9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank everyone for joining the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. Let us move to our next session, which is Srimad Bhagavatam class. May I know who all have joined the call this morning?
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Das. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Aditi Devidasi in India, Pune.
Hare Krishna, Aditi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from College Station, Texas, and your background is so beautiful, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Brahmin. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Ji Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Kamadaki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kamatiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your valuable time and association. Thank you for joining, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, very nice to
Hare
hear
Krishna.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for
so
blessing
much.
us, all of us, with your sweet association, Komadiki Mataji.
Well, I'm sustaining on all your mercy. Thank you very much for all of
Koti
you.
Koti Dandavat Pranam, Ji Kamadiki Mataji.
Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shyama Gauri Devidasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Sham Gauri Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Is anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
Prabhuji has not joined yet.
Yeah, Mataji, we can do introduction. Prabhu,
Sure.
Shisham Prabhu is there. He will read introduction.
Welcoming all of to the Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Radha Pramod Prabhu. Prabhuji is going to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 18th chapter, verse 51 and 52. Before going into the class, I'll hand out the call to Sureshwar Sham Prabhu to give brief introduction of Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please take out the call, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Here is a brief introduction about Prabhuji. His Grace Radha Pramodar Prabhuji came to Krishna consciousness in 2001 and got initiated in 2006 by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Prabhuji completed courses at Bhakti Vedanta Vidyapeetham from BVRC. Prabhuji renders few services like managing a center in Hyderabad, training and educating corporate youth, giving daily sessions on Astha TV and other local channels, conducting online Bhagavatam sessions for many devotee groups across India. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Radha Pramod Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association to us in this morning and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I'll hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 6, 18th chapter, text 51 and 52. This is text 51. Nadauta prada rayata narada pada dukshira shataina paranyayairna nangam nacha sanjay. You should not lie down without having washed both of your feet or without being purified, nor with wet feet or with your head pointed west or north. You should not lie naked or with other women or during the sunrise or sunset. Dautavasa suchir nityam sarva mangala samyuta pujate pratara shatpra govipran sriyam achyutam. Translation: putting on washed clothing, being always pure and being adorned with turmeric, sandalwood pulp, and other auspicious items. Before breakfast, one should worship the cows, the Brahmanas, the goddesses of fortune, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: if one is trained to honor and worship the cows, the Brahmanas, he is actually civilized. The worship of the Supreme Lord is recommended, and the Lord is very fond of the cows and the Brahmanas. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitayacha. In other words, a civilization in which there is no respect for the cows and Brahmanas is condemned. When I cannot become spiritually advanced without acquiring the Brahmanical qualifications and giving protection to the cows. Cow protection ensures sufficient food prepared with milk, which is needed for an advanced civilization. One should not pollute civilization by eating the flesh of cows. The civilization must do something progressive and then it is an Aryan civilization. Instead of killing the cow to eat flesh, civilized man must prepare various milk products that will enhance the condition of society. If one follow the Brahminical culture, he will become competent in Krishna consciousness. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Picharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, this is a very interesting section where so many rules are given. Now, this is a very important aspect to understand. You might have many sessions on this topic. I thought I will take one separate angle, which is generally my way of my topic of discussion all the time, is about mind. Now, why, I will tell you, because why these rules are there. This is a very important for all of us to understand. Why so many rules are given? If you see in this section, so many rules are there. You should not lie down without having washed both your feet, without being purified, and not with wet feet or your head pointed toward west or north. You should not lie naked or with another woman or sunset and sunrise. And before that also, after eating, you should not go out to the street without having washed your mouth, hands and feet. You should not go out in the evening with your hair loose, nor should you go out unless you are properly decorated with ornaments. Only you should not leave house unless you are very grave and are sufficiently covered. Now, why so many rules are there? This is our point of discussion today. Why so many rules are there in Vedic culture? But one simple thing that is, we should be aware that there is, we should know these rules and regulations, they are so much connected to psychology, because this is a philosophy and there is psychology. Both are inseparable in Vedic culture. In Western philosophy, it is just some speculation. It's an attempt to comprehend something with the help of mind. But whereas Vedic psychology has been extremely practical, and it sets the target. What is the target of all these things? To change a person. Now, what is this changing? Changing means changing our mind. They're completely, now I'm not going to take, because about cow and all these things you might have heard many times. And I thought I will take this topic, which not everybody will touch, about cow production, how Brahmanical culture and all these things you might have heard. But I thought of taking this. Now, this set of rules are meant to change ourselves. Change what? Change in our mind. Now, changing the means that oneself means changing our mind only. Therefore, psychology and philosophy are very much connected. Now, the more clearly we realize that the functions of our mind, the mind is generally how it acts, and then what is the ultimate goal, what is the subject. Now, mind itself, it is having some freedom. As such, mind is a tool, but there is a problem with this tool. It has its own freedom. It has its own independence. And the problem with that, it want to go crazy also. That is the problem. Now, the mind is what we constantly communicate with. We are having association, except for 2 hours deep sleep when we are in the middle of night. Remaining 22 hours, we have an association of our mind. And if it is not a devotee, we don't have a good association. Now, this is the problem. Now, how to make our mind give us something good? Now, this is possible, and this is the goal of Vedic culture or Vedic psychology. How to make us, instead of this asatsanga, communicate with our mind to have satsanga. Now, how these rules are connected, I'll come to it very slowly. Now, the purpose of whatever our discussion, that how we need to train our mind, why these rules are given. Now, how to make this mind something do good, and it is possible that this is what is entire Vedic culture is to help us. Now, first thing here, so many rules. First is getting up early morning. How many people like? Not everybody likes getting up early morning. Going for Mangalarti, you have to wake up by 3:30, 3:45 to reach at 4:30 to Mangalarti, and then doing chanting and all. Then there are so many other rules that are performed. Now, all these things are only aimed at one thing, at working with the mind. Even if you take the elementary principles, now sometimes they are very hard to follow some rules. Not only they make our mind very rebellious. It says, no, I don't want to follow all these things. Because if a person uses drugs, what happens? If he start drinking, the best way to get the mind out of control is all these drugs and all these things. Now, this is what is happening to our mind. It is intoxicated with so much sense gratification. And then it says, no, I don't want Krishna in this life. Maybe you can try some other times. But Krishna tells in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto that hero is one who is defeated his mind. That is a true hero. One who can say something, and I am the master of mind. I am not the slave of mind. He is actually hero. We all heard about it. Now, there is now this from here our talk starts. So there is antakaran. Now our mind is called antakaran. Antakaran is the internal organ of senses. Now we have total 11 senses. Internal antakaran, which is and it is controlled by our manas. Now what happens is, like we have 4 goals that I have discussed previously also, that we have 4 goals in the Vedic psychology. We will try to discuss them, and this will make things clear. But one thing from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Indriyani paranyahu indriyebhyo paramanaha manasastu parabuddhir yo buddhe parastu saha. Now this is our shloka, which says the senses are higher than innate matter, the mind is higher than senses. Now, and the mind is higher than the buddhi, buddhi is higher than the manas, and above that there is soul. Now, here that when we have something higher, param drishtva nivartate. Now, everybody should help the mind realize the true position of soul. Now, now just try to understand this. From here our discussion starts. Krishna says that, okay, you have to do certain activity. We come here to understand something very well, that we must trade, do some business. Krishna says, I will help, but we must, what he want in exchange? He says that we must understand what we need to change. There is a well famous saying by Albert Einstein. He says, very important. He gave a very good definition of madness. He says that madness is to do the same thing all the time and expect the result to be different. This is what is madness. That is that we are doing the same things in the world all the time, but we are hoping that the result will be different. But we are doing the same thing. Why? Because our mind is same. It is not changing. We can learn to do something else or fundamentally change the way we work when we change our mind. Then the result will be different. Therefore, in the end point of this is that we need some tools. At least we need some confidence that I can change. I can change my mind. All the Vedic culture, it insists on something like we need to go beyond our karma. So how to overcome our karma? This is with the help of mind only. That to overcome our karma, we need to overcome our mind. That's all. It's very simple. That means we should become conscious. But this work is very troublesome. We say na Kali Yuga, we have this very famous saying, Manda Sumanda Matyo Manda Bhagya Upadrita. Before that, I want to make one important point. Please try to hear. In Kali Yuga, we want everything easy. Everything should come very easily. Now, why people love so much internet? Because in the internet, you get things very easily. People follow Google Parampara. Nothing else is needed. No stress needed to do anything. You just have to, that is the reason Vedic culture got degraded. Now, why? Vedic knowledge, it does not come easy. But you go to Google and you have access of all the knowledge. What is the problem in that? There is no problem. That there is now all the secret mantras which are there in Vedic culture, very easily available on Google. You can type secret Vedic mantras. Now, what is the problem? There is a problem. The problem is knowledge is something we must realize within ourselves. And the easy accessibility of knowledge, knowledge use is actually is of no use. It's actually absolutely no sense. It does not make any change in the person. But Vedic knowledge is not given. It is so many restrictions. It is very issued to a very limited standard. A person had to go through some special discipline. He has to work very hard to get this mantras also. Now, why this is like that? If you take Upanishads, in which Vedic culture is reflected, we can see that the person comes to the first, the student goes to the teacher and he says, I want to gain knowledge. I want to change masses. He comes with a burning heart inside. He says, I want. And teacher says, oh, do you want? Okay, good enough. Take this 100 cows. Once they become 1,000 cows, then you come back to me. I will give you knowledge. In some cases, at least 200, 300. Now, what does it mean? Why Guru is telling, poor fellow want to get knowledge, and Guru is telling him cows to make them 200 and come. What is that means? That humility and labor, that is what required for Vedic knowledge, to become alive or something really to move in our heart, so that we can truly learn something. It's not just Google, you get information. We need to learn something. That is the reason when we are doing proper sadhana, when after hearing, we sincerely read, we sincerely chant, and we have to do some practical service also. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said that when Prabhupada asked, Swamiji, there are no teachers. Prabhupada said, I am the teacher, but there are no students. There are teachers, but no people are there ready. Now that is the character of Kali Yuga. Siddha Goswami says, Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Upradata. That means the sound ka drisha, this sloka, I think. Because people in the Kali Yuga, and they are very lazy. And above all, laziness means what? They are working very hard. No, they are active lazy people. What this active lazy means? There is laziness in buddhi, laziness in unwillingness to change, unwillingness to really apply something within the heart. Now, as a result of is what happens? Now this culture comes, which we are living, the culture which we live, the culture in which people have forgotten about the purpose of life only. Because they got knowledge, information they got, but no transformation, they forgot. And this is what Albert Einstein, one more very famous statement you may know. He says, we have perfection of means, but confusion of aims. This is the main problem of this age. People, they know they are very perfect in the means. They're able to do so many things, but there is a problem. There are problem with the goals of life. But Vedic culture helps us develop perfect method and a very clear understanding of the goals to make a person happy. And we all want to be happy. No, but the bottom line of this happiness is it does not depend anything on external. It does not depend. The happiness of the person depends only on state of his manas and buddhi. Now two different people, extreme, and they are exactly in the same situation, but they can absolutely be happy and others can be absolutely unhappy. Now we have many examples in the concentration camps. We have Viktor Franklin. He was also in concentration camp. Like that, many stories you might have heard in concentration camps, where people within just 2 days they went completely crazy, and some people in the same situation internally they were very happy and controlled. Now, why? Because it's a state of mind. Now, we very much depend on our culture. Our culture presently is very short-sighted, and the culture in which we live, it sees very close and sets very insignificant small goals in life. But whereas Vedic culture, it sets and teaches a person to achieve the goal also. Now, why these rules? Now we'll come to these rules. I just gave the introduction. I will explain why the rules are very important. Now, before that, one more small topic is the 4 goals in any of the Vedic education. Like if you take Ayurveda, now what is the aim of modern medicine? Only one aim. They want to make good money. Most of them. Some people want to cure. But there is a difference. They want to cure also, not that they don't want to cure. Now, what happens is when a person becomes sick, he comes to the doctor and he has already prescribed recipe. The doctor, he is just giving the prescription according to the disease, but he does not look at the person. He already have this prescription, and maximum that modern medicine can do is a cure the disease. A man comes with disease with pain, then he is given some medicine, he drinks the pill and goes away after a while and everything is fine. And then again he comes. But whereas Ayurveda, it's not like that. Ayurveda, the goals are different. First is Ayurveda helps a person get cured. Second thing, what Ayurveda does, it teaches a person how to maintain the health so that he don't get sick with that disease. But there are 2 more goals in Ayurveda. What is that? In Ayurveda, generally, the doctor goes to the villages. There is a practice like that. And he goes to some house. And if the person in the house, everybody is healthy, they have to pay to the doctor. If somebody is sick in the house, they need not pay because the doctor did not take care of them. That's why they become sick. That means what? Whoever is healthy, they all have to pay to the doctor. Now, what is the thing? Now, how the doctors get payment if the patients are sick? That means they wish that more and more people become sick. But in the Ayurvedic Vedic setup, they want more and more people to be healthy so that they can get payment. So that was the system. Now the doctor went around and then it is treated. But now the 4 goals, 2 goals are first to cure and tell them not to how not to get pure. But 2 more things are there. One is he has to give a lifestyle so that in future also you don't become sick. Now I got sick, so I get medicine and I get a lifestyle so that I can come out of the sickness. I don't become sick. But there is one more goal. What is that? Is to give a lifestyle so that you don't become sick. You wake up early morning, follow certain rules and regulations so that you don't become sick. And the 4th goal is to permanently cure. In Ayurveda, it is called rasayana, or rejuvenation of a person. And then the 4th goal is to get rid of the body only. That means what? To make him understand you are not the body spirit soul, it's a spiritual goal. Now another thing is, now any science we take, Vedic culture, it's the same thing. Now there is to cure a painful, in psychology if we take, to cure the painful state of mind. Because what is the disease? Disease actually, it's a when mind is depressed, that's why it causes diseases. You have to cure it and all. Now to give a mental health and to increase the immunity, the 3rd goal. Second is to maintain mental health. 3rd is to give immunity, and last is, yes, you should come out of this. Now to get rid of the identity. Now from here the topic starts is, of course it is called swasthya. Swasthya to be in oneself. Ayurveda we call good health is swasthya. Swasthya means basically to know I am and not to be crazy. Like we have the story of Angulimal. If somebody remembers in their childhood, if they are from CBSE syllabus and they are Hindi book, they have the story of Angulimal. This Angulimal is a person who used to kill people, rob them, and as a remembrance and how many people killed, he used to cut off their small finger and make a garland of that, all these fingers. That's why his name is Angulimal. Mala is without Angulis. Now what happens is Buddha was going in that direction and many people were, don't go in this forest, there is Angulimal, he will kill. And Buddha started going, he said, no problem. And he started walking and suddenly this Angulimal stops. He says, stop. And Buddha says, I stopped long back. When you will stop, he asked. It is then this fellow, he didn't understand. He said, then when you will stop, he asked. Then suddenly something touched his heart. Then he asked, who are you? Buddha looked at him and said, I know who am I, but who are you? He did not know what to answer. That time his heart changed. He comes to his original swasthya. Swasthya means to know who am I. If you know who are we, then we know how to act, what to act. That's actually what happens. Now, so much background I gave to make you understand only one point, why the rules and regulations are there. I'll definitely come to that point. Please bear for a few more. And this is called swasthya. To know who am I. And that time, no one can knock me off my situation because I know my inner state. This is the spiritual health. Like even Socrates also, he was when he was told that he actually was sentenced to death. He was arguing only in such a way that they have to force him to sentence to death. He actually forced them like that. And then, but they all, his friends and all, they go to him and say, hey, there is a boat, you can run away. Socrates says, no, why should I run away? Because whole life I am teaching this only, that you are not the body, spirit, soul. So they cannot catch me. How can they kill me? And the person who is making the poison also, he was also making very slow. Socrates says, make fast, make fast. And all his friends, they were trying to help him escape. And even the judge was also giving an indication, no problem, you can escape. But he didn't want to escape. He said, no, this is what I am teaching. So I want to face it. I want to see how it is. He was completely situated in his self. He did not have any problem. He understood, I am not the body. So there is no question of death. Now, we have to get cured. Now, when Vedic culture, why all these rules are given? So we will come to the point here because it is all connected to mind. Now, what is very important? First thing is modern culture. Na, we expect that they will do everything for us. We should go to the doctor, doctor should do for me. We should go, but Vedic culture, it's not like that. And even Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, he did not say Arjuna, okay, well, Arjuna, you sit behind and smoke ganja and I will fight for you. No, this is the difference in Vedic culture. Modern culture is we want that everything should be done for us. But Vedic culture is not like that. We must fight. That is what is laziness. Fight means here what? We want that is change in the mind. We want ready-made solutions. We want somebody to save us. So that someone from the Vaikunta, they will descend in the aeroplane and drag us and says, okay, now you can live. No, it is not going to happen. Krishna says, no way. I will not fight for you. You have to fight. And Krishna says, I'll help. That is the way. Now, we must not be lazy. Lazy for what? They say, Arey, why is very important? So many rules are there. And no, if somebody says, oh, go to the spiritual master, you'll be saved. And people are very eager. Yes, I'll go to some spiritual master who can save me. I need some spiritual master who does not have many rules. He just helps me to, just save me. No, it does not happen like that. That means we are getting cheated only. If we are getting some spiritual master like that, then it's a big cheating. We need to follow rules and regulations properly, and we have to understand that a person can achieve amazing results. The Vedic science, it teaches, it gives a clarity, especially clarity of mind. It will help us to what happens is if you are able to have a clear mind. In Rig Veda, it is said the shloka gives the speed of light. How can somebody know the speed of light without any modern gadgets? Because that is what is clarity of mind. Mind becomes so clear, so precise that it can receive information. This is what I am trying to explain. We can get information with modern way, but when we clear our mind, then we get real realizations. That's why we need to do sadhana. So Vedic science or knowledge gives such clarity of mind, such power of mind, that such a deep information also can be very easily understood. This is what is Vedic science is all about. Now, now what happens with the mind? It is such a sensitive thing. Now, from here, the mind is it needs certain rules and regulations, because some small thing it will corrupt the mind. But if you deal with it nicely, by following all these regulations and rule very nicely, immediately mind gets cured of all this nonsense and it becomes so clear and we can directly see the Lord. That much ability is there with it. This is the tool is to achieve our goal. But this tool of mind does not listen to us. It's an amazing gift given by Lord. So that's why we are called man. Man is because we have manas. The three distinguishing features from animals and humans is he got fingers, he got this manas, and he got this speech. So these three things are very special, which are not there for animals, which are rare tools that are given to us. The ability of our mind are absolutely amazing. And how to develop this amazing mind? That's why we need rules. What happens is it is very, very fragile also. It's a precision. Like if you are cutting very fine things, we have to be very precise. We have to be very, very fine-tuned. So similarly with our mind also, we need to be very fine-tuned. We follow the rules. And if you take homeopathy, what they do, they give some white small balls. What is this? This is information, the subtlest information that enters into our mind. Homeopathy medicine is a more powerful and more diluted it is. Like you take a thin, breed it until it becomes 1,000 or 1 lakh times. There is nothing at all, only one molecule. Then this molecule directly go to the mind, affects the mind, it heals it. So this is how this tool works, this mind. Now what happens is, the mind is a tool. We don't even use it some part. Now when you follow these rules, this will help. Now I'll give one more example. They say if you fast on Dashami, one day before Ekadasi. Now this time what is happening? Ekadasi is coming on Sunday. But even if you have 5 minutes of Dashami when sunrise is there, you cannot fast on that day. They say you go to hell. No, how you can go to hell just because you fasted on Dashami? What does it mean? It means that when you fast on Dashami, it is spoiling our mind. That is the point. These rules and regulations are for the mind, which is so sensitive. If you clear it, if you make it proper, then this mind will help us to understand the finer things. If you don't deal with mind in the finer way, it becomes so gross that it cannot understand anything, no purpose of life, only information. Just by following these rules, like it is said, don't sleep when facing north and west. You should put your head towards east or south for sleeping, and more helpful is south. Now, how does it matter which direction you sleep? For whom it does matter? It matters to our mind. Now, why it is, I will explain more. That we follow presently Georgian or Julian, or it is a solar calendar, what we are following. But Vedic culture, it's a lunar calendar. It is based on moon. Why? Moon is actually controller of mind. It affects the mind directly. If you want to know, if you ask somebody on full moon day, all the people who have this evil effects that are affecting the mind, they become extremely active on that day. Now what happens is, there are cycles that the mind goes through based on what? Moon. Moon cycle based on moon only. That's why the tithis are there. Now when the mind fasting on Ekadasi, it is directly helping our mind, because the Ekadasi is decided on which, based on moon only. The moon is that time in a state where when you fast, it is good for our mind. We don't fast on Tuesdays, or we don't fast on every end of the month, because there is no point, because all Vedic culture, the rites that are given are helping to tune our mind. This is the point of this whole talk. If at the end of this class, if you can remember this one thing, then this, whatever I want to tell, is completed. So what I want to tell is, the rules and regulations are tools for tuning our mind. One more time. Rules and regulations are there for tuning our mind. When the mind is set up properly, it is much easier to communicate with it. We will be able to control our mind. It is much easier to control and become, then this mind will become an obedient tool for us. That is the purpose. So this is the goal of all the things. All Vedic culture, please listen, all the Vedic culture, the goal of Vedic culture is to make our mind obedient. That's why these rules are there. Based on the position of moon, based on this environment, how to live in harmony, so that mind lives in harmony with nature. If mind is in harmony with nature, we will be able to understand the higher truths. If I wake up morning and sleep in time, then what happens? I am living in harmony. All the animals and birds, now you see, they wake up early morning, they sleep. That is in harmony with nature. So it is to make this tool obedient, and it makes work for us. then what happens? We'll cease to be slaves of our mind. That's all. What is happening is we are presently, most of the people, they are slaves of their mind. Now the calendar is also made in that way. Therefore, there are certain sanskaras. What are the sanskaras? Sanskaras are also that rules that are given to help us with the minds. All these rituals are for our mind only. All the yajnas they do for the mind only. Everything they are doing, they are working at the level of mind, because the Vedic rituals are the tools of tuning the mind only. When the mind is set up properly, it is much easier to communicate with it, to work with it. It is much easier to achieve our goals. And this is the goal of all other things also, to control the mind, so that we don't become slaves of our mind. Now, another point is that this is a very subtle thing that is given. So these rules are held. Now, I was telling this Dashami. Now we are Sundays Ekadashi coming, but we are fasting on Mahadvadashi. We call it as Mahadvadashi. And we fast on Monday, we are fasting now. Why Mahadvadashi? Because it should not defile our mind. That's the only reason. All these things are set up because there will be some, it does not that we do go to hell, but because we have fasted our Dashami, because of this, the mind, as a result of it, it will acquire certain properties. And these properties will make us to hell. That's what. It should not be neglected. Once, even 1,000 times diluted substance can affect our mind and begin to cure our mind with all other influences. So we can understand how sensitive this instrument which Lord gave us. That's the reason when we have to regularly chant this mantra, because it's directly helping our mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the point. Now we may say, Hare Prabhu, why so many rules? Chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient, na? Why we need to follow so many rules? Yes, it is sufficient. But these are all very favorable for chanting. That's why we need to follow all these things. Sleeping, not west, not in the north. We should turn that direction and sleep. Now, these are all will help us. That's the reason. Now, yes, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is sufficient. There is no doubt. But we would not be. Prabhupada, he told that we need to control our mind. And these are things, to repeat this mantra, these things will help. That's why we take help of this. Like, because some people's minds are very weak, and for them to adjust will be very difficult. That is the reason they need to follow certain rules, and it will help them. And here, that now why cow worship? See, everything has a purpose. What benefit you get worshipping cow? Because connected to this topic only little, because cow is a non-envious animal. It is so pure. That's why anything comes from the cow, it is pure. Why? Because its heart is pure. Because the cow's heart is pure, anything goes into the cow and comes out, everything remains pure only. The cow dung, cow urine, milk, anything is pure. Now, when we associate with cow, when we are serving cow means what? We are associating with cow. Then what will happen? Our heart also will change. So that is the point. That means serving cow is for what? To cure our heart, mind only. Same thing. Now, when we follow certain Ekadasi's rules, so Hari Varsha, so we call this Hari Vasara. Hari Vasara is what? To bring us closer to God. That means our mind becomes very pure so that we can come closer to God. Now, there is a question that scripture says that material world, everything is achieved through austerities. Why austerity? That is another point. We have to pay for what we are taking in this world. This means we have to bring our mind to a normal state. Mind wants something, but I say, no, you cannot. Is this austerity? Asceticism? Yes, this is asceticism. I am not doing what I want. And the lack of austerity is when I do only what I want. That is the problem present age. Everybody want to do whatever they want. It won't work like that. We need to do austerity. Austerity is basically a payment. Payment for what we are going to enjoy in the future. Now, the Vedic way of dealing is, it is trying to help a living entity to get this proper state in mind. Now, change in this mind, we have discussed many times, three things. What is the three things? The way we think, the emotions we experience, and the desires. Now, any other thing that is not helping us in this direction, it is all Kaitava Dharma only. It is not correct. We need to know that all this Vedic culture is helpful for our mind to change. Change occurs with the body, change occurs with the soul. But when we are connected to the soul, then the change is actually very powerful. Now, when we presently what is happening is we identify with our body and mind. But when we know, okay, I'm not the body, spirit, soul, then that connection is good. Now, another thing is for the mind is relationships. When we start accepting the person, this is little bit deviation, but I will anyway tell. When we little bit like why you are celebrating the festivals, no? I will just tell this because we just had 2-3 festivals, and Janmashtami continues in India for few more days. Like day before yesterday we had yesterday Prabhupada festival. Today I have 2 Janmashtamis and tomorrow we have one more Janmashtami. This is advantage in India. What happens in these festivals is it is basically for the help of mind. All of them come together and then we start praying. Then it creates such a great synergy, the Lord appears there. That is the advantage. Then mind, it becomes more focused in that situation. I can help the Lord come. And now what happened? You can see with the same story, Titi, she followed all these rules. At the end, what happened? Her mind changed. Her heart changed. She said, okay, Indra, fine with it. No, you have tried to kill my children, but no problem. They can be your friends. That is what happened. And especially when we follow devotional rules, that will help more to change our mind and heart. So I'll just revise what we have discussed. No, basically, I was trying to tell why so many rules and regulations. For this, I started in the beginning with that how is our mind changing means changing the nature of mind. Now we discussed that according to the our asat sangha is our mind only presently, and then we saw the 3-4 aims of Vedic culture, Vedic psychology, any educations. The 4th thing is first is to like we discussed, if we are doing the same activity again and again, we cannot change ourselves. And what is the laziness? The Vedic way of gaining knowledge is through what? Vedic way of gaining knowledge is you work hard and then only you get realization. It's not Google, just go and search. You go to Guru and get it. Because you have to work hard, then only you get, then it's a realized knowledge. It will help. Whereas in modern age, people want everything easy. They want somebody else to do for us. And we just want it to everything free. But what happens is it does not change the heart and person remains as it is. So there is a laziness. What is the laziness in Kali Yuga? People don't want to change their heart. They say everything is okay for us. But change of heart, no. We are not going to work for it. They are ready to work for sense gratification. So that's why they are active lazy people. Now, but in Vedic culture, it was not like that. They work very hard to get it. And then we saw the 4 aims is you have to, for Ayurveda, we saw that you cure a person, then you give a life, you give the medicine, the proper procedure to get out of it, and then you give the lifestyle. And the fourth thing is you tell them who you are. This is where our discussion started. So we should know who am I, then I will be able to function nicely. We should come to that stage. Now, what happened is all these rules and regulations are to bring our mind to understand who am I. Now, presently, the mind is working on its own independently. It does not want to listen to us. To make our mind to listen, which is very, very sensitive, there are three tools that are given to human beings, which are not there in animals: mind, fingers, and speech. And especially with this mind, it is such a sensitive thing. We have to handle it so carefully. And we discuss how in homeopathy, even a slightest difference in the medicine will change it. And it can cure also very nicely. And then we saw that these rules, they have very subtle effect because the calendar is based on moon. We don't fast on Dashami. Why? It will, the way we think will change when we fast on Dashami, because the moon, it acts on our mind. And it's such a sensitive thing. If we start acting in a wrong way, it will pollute our consciousness, and then we'll go to hell. That's why it is told you follow certain things, you go to hell. You shave on this day, you go to hell. You eat this, you go to hell. You do this, you go to hell. So basically, what is going to hell means your consciousness is completely defiled, and then you end up doing certain activities, and you will be inclined to do certain activities which will ultimately take you to hell. That's all. The problem starts from our mind only. That is why so many rules and regulations are given. And same thing, why we serve cow? Because it is directly helping our mind. Any rule if you take, whatever they are given here, all the rules are for that only. You should not lie down without washing both your feet. Why? It affects the psychology. And we should not put our head pointing to west and north. It also affects. There will be some electromagnetic radiations and whatever in the earth and all these things. It affects our mind only. And during the sunrise and sunset, that is also for the mind. All these things are, every rules in Vedic culture have three levels. One is directly physical to the body, second is psychology to the mind, and third is a spiritual benefit. So just for now, I only told one aspect, that is the psychological aspect, how it is important to follow, because the mind is such a sensitive thing. We need to work. Now, what happens is when we are doing certain activities, we have to now, if by eating outside, if somebody is so much eating from outside, he cannot expect that he'll chant a very quality rounds. Not possible only. If we are eating outside, don't expect that the quality of chanting will be very high. Not possible. We have to be very, very careful with the food. We have to be very, very careful with what we drink. Cool drinks, you drink so much, it will affect chanting. If you have eaten outside, it will affect chanting. If you eat without offering, it will affect chanting because it's directly affecting our mind. Then where is the question of focusing in our mind? You cook, offer it to Lord, yourself, or devotees, you take, and if they have cooked with proper consciousness, so much quality of our chanting will improve. Same thing with water. We should not take cool drinks and all. It's just tamoguna actually. Cool drinks are any chilled which are deep frozen. It is tamoguna. We have to bring it to glass. Maybe one time you have to pour in glass, then prana comes. It will become sattva. Then we can take. Why? Because it is affecting our chanting. So why we should take? Why we should compromise? If somebody no, that's why fast foods. Somebody is eating fast food, 100% sure he cannot chant quality rounds because it's all already processed and so many people's consciousness went into it and it's all tamoguna. How can, which is affecting our mind only? In tamoguna, how is the possibility that we'll chant? That's why as much as possible, we should take time to cook and then we should eat. Because why we are doing all these things? It is only to help our mind. Oh, I will save so much time and I'll make so much money if I eat fast foods. But why you want so much money? Why you want save time? If your mind is getting corrupted, What is the point of all these things if it is not going to help you anyway? Ultimately, it is that we should be able to remember Krishna at the end of life. But mind is only got corrupted because of my fast food, because of my fast running lifestyle. My lifestyle is such that I cannot do all these things. Waking up early morning is not possible. Eating sattvic food is not possible. And I have to eat all these things. I cannot eat at home. I cannot offer. Then what is the use of such lifestyle? Better that we cut down our lifestyle, all these things. We can have less money, but we can focus on Krishna because the purpose is served. Otherwise, the purpose is not served. That is my humble opinion. you can uh, you can be against my opinion also, but this is what I feel, that we don't need all these things. We need to control our mind at the end of life. If that is not done, why all these rules are given? Why Parikshit Maharaj could give up everything? Because he maintained that lifestyle. Atmajaya Sutakara Pashu Dharvena Mandashu Rajya Chavikali Nityam Virudha Mamtam Juhu. Parikshit Maharaj could give up everything because he followed this lifestyle. He did not bother about what is my profit, what is my gain, and all these things. He just lived a lifestyle where his mind was completely focused on Krishna. That is why we need to follow these rules so that my lifestyle is helping me to focus on Krishna and I am able to chant the holy name nicely. If that is not happening, then there is no point. Especially work on food. If we work on food, then our sleep will be nice. If we sleep nicely, we wake up nicely, we can chant the holy name. And you will start experiencing a deep realizations in chanting. We can take shelter of chanting. We will get that great satisfaction in chanting. And that's all. At the end of life, we are satisfied with chanting. We are with Krishna. And then life is successful. Otherwise, what the point? If our chanting is getting affected because of our lifestyle, that means we are not yet taken Krishna consciousness very seriously. That's the point. If we are taken Krishna consciousness seriously, following the rules, following in the food style, not that we should eat sattvic. You can eat nicely offered, but it should be homemade, nicely offered. That is one of the major aspects I feel where mind is getting affected. And then other things are also there. If we are sitting in front of our social media, in front of TV for a long time, that is also affecting our chanting because that affects our mind. So much information not needed. If some things which we don't need, we don't no need to spend time. It will come on its own accord. If it is needed for us, Krishna will send somebody who will give that information to us. We can be happy with that. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you so much for wonderful class, Prabhuji. You have given very valuable points, how it will affect our chanting. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It is very minute, but sometimes we concentrate and sometimes we don't, Prabhuji. But we'll try to keep them in mind and to improve our chanting, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. If anybody have any questions or realizations, please go. Shiv Kumar Prabhu, please unmute yourself and please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranams, Prabhu. Prabhu, thank you so much for today's class. It was very simple, yet it was rich with so many points. We kind of made so many points and takeaways from today's class. Prabhu, two questions, Prabhu, from today's topic. The role of intelligence in purifying mind, Prabhu. I was just looking up the slokas. There were a bunch of slokas that talks about using intelligence to purify the mind, and there were also few slokas that talked about engaging the intelligence in fixing the intelligence in Krishna. So I just wanted to hear from you, Prabhu. In some lectures, I heard reading scriptures is one way of purification of mind through the means of intelligence. I just wanted to hear from you. Are there more to it, or just on that topic? And then the second question is, when we say fixing the intelligence on Krishna, what does that exactly mean? Is that about faith, or is that about the determination on the devotion or devotional services? That's something that I wanted to check.
Yeah. First question, bro. Like in English, bro, we have mind, but in Sanskrit now we have manas, buddhi, and ahankar and chitta. There are 4 different terms. That is actually what confuses. When we say here mind, sometimes it refers to manas, sometimes mind refers to buddhi also. So in English, the terms are like this. Manas is subconscious mind, buddhi is conscious mind, chitta is unconscious mind. So there are 3 different terms. Now, when Prabhupada is telling with our intelligence, he's basically telling with the help of buddhi, we have to cure our manas. So I'll use only Sanskrit terms to explain. Now, when we say buddhi, buddhi is actually the conscious mind, which is the most important thing. That is the only way we can cure our manas. What happens is generally people are very emotional. Emotional state is of manas, but rational state is buddhi. So when we go emotional state, then we have to bring to our rational state. Oh, okay, like say I'm very emotional and I want to do certain things. When we are doing sense gratification, that is an emotional state. I want this sweet. I want this to enjoy. I want to watch movie. I want to play. That is when children, you see, they are very emotional. You try to stop them, they start crying, they start yelling, and you make them say, no, no, beta, no, you see, you have exam tomorrow, you have to study now. What you are trying to do, give him buddhi. So buddhi will help them to discriminate what is right and wrong. And when they come to the state of buddhi, then they say, okay, okay, after exams I'll play. Yes, yes, you can play after exams. So you are trying to help their manas with the help of buddhi. That is how we are trying to help. So we have to bring to the rational level. Emotional state is manas, rational state is buddhi. And we also, when we are spending some money, we use our intelligence. Why I need to spend money for so many? Let us go to Vrindavan and stay 1 month and come instead of going some other place. So we use our buddhi and use it. Second thing is when we read Shastra, what happens is our buddhi gets awakened. We start knowing what is right, what is wrong. Presently, our buddhi don't have that. That's why we have to awaken our buddhi to teach what is right and what is wrong. We need to become conscious also. Like you see for children in India, not in the West, if they don't listen for you tell them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. 4 or 5 times they don't listen. Then what happens? They'll get one big slap. What happens is when they get a slap, they become conscious. Their buddhi awakens. Then when next time they want to do, they understand, no, no, I should not do it. What happened is when they were told 10 times, they did not register in their buddhi. They were not conscious about it. That's why they are still doing it. To make them conscious, once slap is given, then they understand, oh, why I got a slap. Then they come to a level of buddhi. They are not, that time they are not in the level of manas. When they come to the level of buddhi, then it registers for them. That cannot be done. That's why beating is allowed in India in children. Now it is not. But it is allowed. Why it is allowed? To help them to come to become conscious, not to torture them. It's not abuse. Mother can beat. Because to help the child become conscious. And that is awakening of buddhi. And when buddhi is awakened, then you register what information is told. Similarly, for us also, like I do some mistake again and again. And 10 times I was told I do the mistake again. But when you are conscious, when you understand, then you come out of it. Like one example, like in one senior devotee was sharing. He was speaking some wrong, some word. Like we say, I said. We don't, I told. We say, I said. Now he was doing the mistake again and again. The devotee tried to help him. He should not use language like this. He was doing the same mistake. One day his spiritual master came and he told his spiritual master, this fellow is doing the same mistake. As soon as he told in front of spiritual master, immediately he stopped doing that mistake. What happened? He became conscious. That is what is needed. To awaken the buddhi is the purpose. When your buddhi is awakened, if it is told what is right and wrong, then we can control our manas. We will not stay in an emotional state. That is how it is. Hope it is clear.
Yes. So, Prabhu, the second question, Prabhu, fixing the buddhi on Krishna, there were a few slokas that I kind of put up in the chat, Prabhu. Does that mean the determination on the bhakti or the devotion itself, or the faith aspect of it, or?
Yeah, one is Prabhu, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. This is one-pointed intelligence, buddhi. That is what is Krishna is telling, that we need to have focused determination. So it is also faith. Because when you have faith, then only we are enthusiastic about it. Otherwise, I am not enthusiastic about it. It is how much we have faith, that much enthusiastic we are. Say, if I am told that if you go to Australia, you are very happy. Now I developed a faith. Now I'm very enthusiastic to go to Australia because I have faith on it. Our faith is proportionally dependent on, enthusiasm proportionate to the faith. And one more thing is putting now what is important here, that the sanskaras are for that only, to develop a proper ego. When ego is proper, then we can fix buddhi on Krishna. That is a difference between bhakti yoga and other processes. Bhakti yoga is you already set a contract with Krishna that I am your servant. Like you go to a company, you already fixed a contract. Now you have to work for the company. Now when you're working for the company, you're always conscious that this work is for the company only. Not that every end of the day you go to the boss and say, I did this service for you. No, you're already conscious that you are doing for him. That is actually Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga fixing means you already fixed that my ego, I am servant of Krishna. And separately, you need not go and do any separate. Whereas Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga is you offer. Yat karo se dasna se juho se dadat yat tapasya tat kushva madarpanam. I am going to offer it to Krishna, but I am doing for myself only. Because the ego is not fixed there. In other yogas, ego is your self-centered ego. In Bhakti Yoga, we start with Krishna. The center starts with Krishna. I am servant of Krishna. What else I can do? I just serve Krishna. That is the difference. That's how we fix. So when you fix our ego, then we can fix buddhi also.
Thank you. Prabhu, one last question, Prabhu. Sorry. The change that you talked about, Prabhu, changing the mind. In my experience, what I notice is when I kind of work on my mind to go through the change per what we kind of read in Shastra, there is resistance as we can understand. But when we go through some humiliation outside, from externally, from other people, the mind immediately seems to get submissive, and then it starts working on the change. So I just wanted to know why is this the mind has the habit of acknowledging the external triggers versus not resisting when I internally work on it to make the change. I just wanted to hear from you, Prabhu.
It's same thing, Prabhu. What happens is we become conscious. When somebody insults or something, immediately it's at our buddhi level. Initially we are in a state. Then when it comes to level, then we become conscious. Any activity with consciousness, we can change it. Because sometimes some habits now we are not able to change because we are not yet registered at a conscious level. That's why we need a very strong relation with devotees who will help us, who will make us again and again. They have to forgive us, and then we'll become more conscious. And maybe for him, I want to do it. So in that way, we'll.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Jyoti Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna and Danvat Pranam to you. Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have two questions. My first question is, I have seen that on the Amavasya and the full moon day, that is Purnima, there is a change in the mind. Even there are the subtle things that happens, like some anger happens or the fight happens in the surrounding. Even there is very high emotions at that time. And I have also heard that people do fasting on that day. Means like my grandmother at that their side, they fast on that day. I mean, they will have very less amount of grains, and they don't even have milk on that day. And I also heard that on that day, Amavasya and Purnima, cows also don't eat. They only drink water. So I wanted to cross check with this. And the second question is, so the Shastras, we have conscious mind and subconscious or unconscious mind. So is the Shastras dealing with unconscious mind that we don't know? And that is the reason we try to understand the Shastras, and then we try to, means first we start with the understanding, but we
First,
don't
I'll answer
understand.
the first question. Because I may not. I'll answer the first question first. Now this fasting, yeah, that is true, because what happens is moon has direct effect on mind, and because of the movement of mind, it affects the mind also. And another thing is, I don't know about fasting of cows, whether they fast or not, I'm not sure. But some people, they avoid certain food items on a Purnima or Amavasya, yeah, because it is helping them to control the mind, they may do it. That is not for everyone, but some people it helps them. And if they have certain, say, it depends on their particular astrological chart also. Devotee is not applicable. They can just depend on Krishna's chart, and we just have to do Ekadasis. Other things, because it is not recommended for us in the by our Acharya, so we don't do on Purnima, Amavasya, other days. We only do Ekadasi. That is sufficient for us. And that may be, that is what they are doing may be right, and according to their position of chart in the astrology, that is recommended by the astrologers for them. That's why they may be doing. And for cows, I don't know whether they're fasting. But this is true that Amavasya Purnima, it affects, especially people who are emotional, they'll get affected. But for devotees, if they are very sincerely chanting, they can, by Krishna's mercy, they can overcome it. Yes.
But the chanting is also affected when the surrounding is, means on the Amavasya, since my father passed on the next day of Gaur Purnima, and I observed that on that day we both were very happy and very happy state, and next day also till he left the body, I didn't felt that that negativity in the house or in his speech also. So I was just thinking how it affected uh, the rest of the day, it affected, but till the day, until that moment. So how that happens, I don't know, but I felt that the fasting can help, because on that day I was fasting, the prior day I was fasting, and I was still continued with that energy to handle the things. But now I'm realizing I'm trying to control the food on, but if the shastras are not there, like acharyas are not doing, then we should not.
No. Fasting always helps in chanting, and somebody who is taking less, it is always affecting the mind. That is always true. But sometimes the bodily need is there, that's why we have to take. But one thing is that if you have fasted certain days, and now Adhik Mas is there, so many devotees only took fruits whole month. Somebody took Ekadasi per whole month, and now Kartik also comes. Some people take only Ekadasi prasad for whole month. They do some fruits only whole month. It definitely helps them in chanting. The quality of their chanting definitely improves. But if your body don't cooperate, then no need to do. But sometimes if you are fasting, that is not any loss. If anything that helps you to peacefully focus on Krishna and chant the holy name without affecting your health, you can do all the things.
Okay, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, my second question is, as per the general knowledge, as like modern knowledge, whatever I have right now. So there is a conscious mind and there is unconscious or subconscious mind, which is very high in percent. So they say that 90% or 99, maybe more than that. But so is this shastra dealing with the unconscious, because we can understand the behavior of mind little bit by the conscious state of ours, but after coming in bhakti, I felt that the shastras are helping for the unconscious state, which is absolutely not in our hand. Like we after doing chanting or the rules and regulations, I don't know about the chanting how it is affecting, but the rules are definitely affecting, especially when we eat the offered food. So I wanted to know how the shastras means it will be like a very long term, like to understand the unconscious or the subconscious mind. So it is not the job of one life. So could you please tell me how I conclude on this?
Yeah, Shastra is dealing with all levels, Mataji. When we follow Shastra, they are dealing on a physical level, to the body also, to the subconscious mind, unconscious mind, and conscious mind, all three levels, and also with identity, that is Ahankar. All the things are taken care by when we follow Shastra, and when we chant Hare Krishna also, all the things are nicely taken care. Like we are emotional states, we develop proper emotions. Now we just had emotions for material things, material people, material film actors, actresses, sports player. Now our emotions are towards our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, now we had Vyas Puja. Our emotions are properly directed. And our buddhi, which is helping our manas to enjoy this material world, now this buddhi is used in a particular way to understand Shastra and guide our mind. Similarly, we have our we are using our ahankar get right identity, and chitta, all the samskaras which are stored in it, we are trying to purify our chitta, and that's what is chitta with the nirodha. When we start chanting, the sanskaras are getting deleted. So Shastra, especially the Bhakti Yoga, is dealing with all the levels, not only spiritual level, emotional level, and physical level. All the three levels, it is working on us. Like previously, our health. Now, because when we start chanting, we are very healthy compared to, especially if we are following a very proper diet, very sattvic diet, we are more healthy than outside people. We can live for a long time also. It is helping in a physical level, and emotionally also, we are very healthy because we can happily dance and chant and be happy. Yes. Clear, Matish?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the class. I like the point that you made that the mind won't change, and the explanation that you gave about the mind, that was really very useful for me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Gail Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, fascinating and very useful class. So many things.
Yes, I'm very inspired by your presence.
Oh, thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, so many things. One is the buddhi is the conscious mind, the chitta is the unconscious mind, and the
Manas is subconscious.
yeah, manasi is subconscious. Wait, the voice is not coming properly. Okay, there's some lag, internet lag. Okay, try again. Let's see.
And we are able to hear you.
Yeah,
Clearly.
okay. Now I think it's good. Oh, okay, it's for me to go. Okay, yeah. So, I'm always a little confused between subconscious and unconscious. I mean, I know you said that the manas is where our feelings are, our likes or dislikes. I think that's what that is. But subconscious and unconscious are a little, the distinction is a little blurred for me, because so often we're not aware of our subconscious,
Yeah. Now what happens is we are there are samskaras which comes from previous life. So this Mataji, this is what is unconscious level is the information of this lifetime that are registered. So all these emotional state we have is the impressions which are registered from this lifetime, and because of that we act. So this is just like our RAM, all the information of this. But we have the sanskaras from so many lifetime, the impressions, which is like hard disk, which is storing some unlimitedly. And the storage that happens there at the level of chitta is a neutral state. It is not plus or minus. Like say, if I see ice cream, chitta actually tells that this is ice cream, and that goes to manas. But manas does not does not see the item. Manas will say have plus and minus. Manas will say I like it or I don't like it. That is the difference between chitta and manas. There is unconscious and subconscious level. Subconscious is only this lifetime memories. But whereas all these, see, there are like a person has a tendency of a kshatriya or a brahmana or a shudra. That is at the level of chitta only. That are because of sanskaras from previous lifetimes. And of course, there are so many details are there. I'm just giving you an idea. Like you are a brahmana, you want to ask questions, understand information, get this knowledge. Now you will be default setting for you is If some class where the information is nicely given, you will be attracted to that class and you will hear. And somebody will be interested to kirtan. Somebody will be interested to some pastime. Some katha is there, they are happy. Now what, from where the setting is coming? This is come from previous life. This is from chitta. But manas is now, within that also you have some speakers. You will be attracted to certain speakers. You will appreciate certain things. This is happening at an emotional state. So one thing is which you do, and then there is another level where you are emotionally attached to certain things. That is at the level of manas. And buddhi is discrimination. This is just brief idea. Like we are default setting. Like now I am certain the body and this mentality and thought process, everything is because of my chitta, the previous sanskaras, which are stored in chitta. But now whether what I am doing, how I am liking and all these things because of manas. You understood the difference?
Yeah, so I think you said that manas is subconscious and it's no, but you also said that previous lifetime is unconscious. The samskaras from previous lifetime is unconscious, no?
Yeah.
And the samskaras from this present lifetime is the samskaras from this present lifetime. How would you call that?
They store in subconscious level. That's how you immediately react. Say now you have certain things, you have certain areas you like, certain people you like, because you have already got something in this lifetime. No? That's why we have emotional state. Now say you like certain food items. Now why you like certain food items? Because you got the impressions from this lifetime. Your mother fed you with some items and you want to have breakfast. Now if I give you idli sambar of South India, you say, no, I don't want. You give me some pizza burger. So then it is because you got already some samskaras of this lifetime. Your breakfast style will be like that only. My breakfast style will be something else only. From where did I get? I got from this lifetime. So I like certain things I don't like because that's what I got the impressions in this lifetime.
But there are impressions from previous lifetime that's also impacting my present decisions.
Yeah. To some extent, they affect because actually what happened from previous life, what happens? You get a programming style, and within that you get programmed. Like say you got a Lenovo laptop. I I got Mac, and somebody this I already got it. So now you got a Mac. Now within Mac, what you do, what you are storing in it, you are storing Krishna conscious lectures or movies or some songs. That is up to you. But you already got a Mac. That Mac, what you got is from previous life. But within that, what you are doing is this lifetime some impressions which you are taking.
Okay, yeah, so fascinating. Okay, another thing is, can you elaborate a little bit on this connection between acquiring knowledge and work? Because it seems like, if we study Shastra, for example, right? With the consciousness that, okay, by this study, I want my heart to be transformed. Why won't that help to transform the heart? This you were talking about the need for practical service, which I guess means working with the gross senses. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just need some elaboration on this work transformation of heart connection.
Just by hearing also you can perfect. It's not that we have to this is also service only. Hearing is also service, chanting also. Just chanting, people can go back to God. Just by hearing, and that's what we have 9 process of devotional service. Any one process, perfection is achieved. What is here that in Vedic culture, what is important was that time they are not just doing bhakti. That is about Nishkam Karma Yoga. That is what is practiced. So to come to that level where the sanskaras have to get purified, person need to endeavor, person need to work hard to get that state. And then he will be able to gain that proper realization and come. For Kali Yuga, we don't have so much time. No, you take 100 cows, make them 1,000 and go. By the time our lifetime is over. Now for Kali Yuga, the process is little different. We can make ourselves get that realization if we are sincerely developing that mood and consciousness which is trained by Prabhupada, and you hear sincerely, and with that sincere heart we start chanting with whatever all our endeavor, and we try to serve others. We have to render some service to our guru in his mission, either by distributing books or sharing this knowledge with few others. Something we need to do to guru as a gratitude. Then more and more our gratitude will increase. That will help our quality of chanting also. That is what. Some service to guru, because he is doing so much for us. Let me also do some service to him as a gratitude. Like Prabhupada did so much, and he want that more and more people should get this knowledge. So let me assist Prabhupada in something. So at least weekly one class you can take and help 2-3 of your friends, or distributing some books maybe 2 hours in a week, or some practical service as a gratitude to our spiritual master. That will help us to help our quality of chanting also, because we are the heart will soften. We only feel compassionate. I am gaining so much, why can't I give to few more others, like that. So in that way, that is an indication of our change in heart, and that will help us become more, and the quality of our devotion will increase. Or even if you have deities at home, we are serving the deities also, that will also work, because we are doing some practical service. On behalf of our spiritual master, we want to serve devotees. On behalf of a spiritual master, we want to give this knowledge to others. So that's how it helps.
Okay, and so you would qualify or characterize those things as practical service, because I feel like this term practical service is very confusing among us ISKCON people. You know, it's practical service seems to be, you know, identified as, you know, cleaning the bathrooms, or, you know, doing something physical, you know, not hearing and chanting, you know, that doesn't seem to be identified as practical service in this kind. So if you could like define practical service.
Yeah, of course, managers will not be happy. But you personally call me, Mataji, I will talk to you. I'll send him. We'll take questions from others. We can call among ourselves.
Okay. One last thing, Prabhu. You were saying that the distinction between animals and human beings is speech, mind, and fingers, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought animals also have mind. I thought animals have their own speech, you know, and they also have, you know, their
That is
ways
not
of.
fine, Mataji. Like now we can express, we have hundreds of languages and we have so many ways to, means we have very fine way of communicating, but not with animals. And our fingers, if you see, no animals have such fingers. The growth in our fingers, most of our brain functions in activating the fingers only. And when it comes to our buddhi, animals don't have that type of buddhi which we have. We are able to access it like that.
Okay, wait a minute. That was a little bit fast for me. So we have a more refined, you know, we can, so we can refined speech means that we can communicate in a more detailed manner, no?
Yeah.
And
they have sound, they make that sound.
Excuse me?
They make few sounds, that's all. Any animal, they can have few.
And then with fingers, what we can manipulate things in a more specific way.
Yeah, we are very fine. Now we make so many big buildings, houses and all. No animal can do it.
Okay. So there was communication. There was speech, and Okay, and the fingers. Okay. Yeah, so everything basically we can do everything in a much more refined way.
Yeah.
And with more detail. Okay, I know there was something else, but I don't remember. But thank you so much. This was like incredible lecture, Prabhu. Thank you. Oh wait, yeah, one more thing. The fasting. You were saying that fasting is always helpful, but I think you also mentioned that fasting on Dasami, day before Ekadasi, that's not good.
Not good.
So it's not that any fasting anytime is good.
No. Means in general, if you are doing in a regular basis, that's not a problem. Only that day you do on Dashami, you don't do anything, suddenly you do on Dashami, it is wrong. Like whole month you have fasted, no problem.
Oh.
Only specifically you choose Dashami, like we are not doing on Sunday, we are doing on Monday. If you do on Sunday, it's a problem.
You're saying if a person is not accustomed to fasting, but out of the blue, they decide to do it that day, then there's a problem. Yeah, and also this sleeping, you should not sleep in the north or the west, right?
You can choose, you take your compass, find out the direction and you sleep on south or east or south. South is better.
So in other words, your head should not be facing north or west.
West, yeah.
Do we know why that is so? Do we know why?
Mind is so sensitive. Every small thing has effect on our mind. We want to take care of our mind so that we can chant nicely.
Okay, so ideally, we should take our compass and make sure that our head is facing south.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nitya Narsham Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Such an amazing and practical class, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, my question is, like you mentioned in the class also, some people minds are weak. So one of my friend went into depression. So my question is how he can come back to normal life. Of course, he is chanting 16 rounds, but like other partner not cooperating, you can say. So in such cases, how he or she can come back to normal life, Prabhuji?
Through such cases, they need to take professional help to come out, and after that they can practice. They continue chanting 16 notes, but they also need to take help of professional people who can help them to come out of this. They need to take, if they need some medicine also, they have to take, because they need to be very strong to come out of it by Krishna conscious practice. If they don't practice so intensely, better is to some extent, little bit they can take support of professional help, and after that they can they practice that, and after that they will become very, means little stability is needed, bro. After that, on that they can happily practice Krishna conscious. But just by chanting and all, if they don't have so much faith, it won't help. Better is they take little professional help.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Like any idea, Prabhuji, like what are the root cause of the depression? Person going into
because of bad karma only, bro. And means, of course, bad karma manifests in ways. Basically, that is weak mind, and it happens for many people. Even for some brahmacharis also it happened. They have to go to hospital and take some professional help, and it helped for some time, but some cases it didn't help also. And I have seen some people who had this type of problem, their bodyline disorder cases. They did not take any medicine, just practicing Krishna conscious, they are very normal. And they are properly certified bodyline disorder cases. But it helped. Because these people, they are any extreme cases. They are very mentally weak. But if they don't have faith, and basically this is bad karma manifesting in different ways. And it's weak mind only. It's especially their buddhi cannot what happens is we have some logic. For them, it does not work so much. Like say they always become fearful for certain things. Now we say, okay, what extreme can happen? I lose job, I'll not have money. Okay, I'll go to Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna. Means some people are very cool. They will never get into depression. But some people they'll think of so much and get depression. So their logical things don't work for them so nicely. But that is because of some bad karma only.
Thank you very much,
Their
Prabhu.
logic is not working. They're logically they are not able to comprehend. They are very upset with small things. I said, okay, now let it be cool. What happened? If they said you are a useless fellow, how does it affect you? You can peacefully chant your Hare Krishna and take prasadam. Means for them, that thought that I am useless fellow goes so bad that they go into depression. It's like that. They cannot logically they are not able to hold their mind. That's the problem.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And also, as you mentioned, Prabhu, like eating outside and drinking cold drinks and all, this is practical. Even I also realized, Prabhu, like sometimes we go for programs and all, where we don't know. Of course, we go and we think that the devotees are cooked, but sometimes we eat and we see that next day chanting gets affected or we get bad dreams. And you nicely explained about the practical application of like eating prasadam at home and with proper consciousness we should cook. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad.
Yes, that is what I wanted you. You understood. Very grateful for that.
Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Bhagavalli Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dharatnam, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful section. Prabhuji, I wanted to just ask, I'm traveling and I want to ask you that my husband's relative has died 2 days back and tomorrow is the third day and tomorrow is Ekadasi. Can I follow the Ekadasi Virada tomorrow? We have this thing for them.
Yes,
for 12 days
can.
or 16 days, we should not go to temple and all. There is a follow that tomorrow Ekadasi that I want to clarify with you.
That is basically, Mataji, somebody is so much emotionally connected to you and you are affected because of their absence. That is the time when we have to control. We need not go. Otherwise, if they are very far relatives, nothing to do. Previously, it was very close family, close connections. People were affected. And then when you go to temple, you still think about that person only instead of Lord. That is the reason they are told don't go to temple. Just be for 13 days. When you become normal, then go to temple. Because when you go in front of temple, you cannot cry for somebody material in front of Lord. That's why we are told not go. Basically, it is Mataji lost.
That's okay, Prabhu. You can continue. She can listen in the YouTube.
No, it is we stopped recording.
No, Prabhuji, that recording is because WhatsApp does not allow more than 2 hours. This YouTube is going, Prabhuji. YouTube is live.
So the point is this thing you all can remember and you can help others also, that basically this the rules are given for somebody who is very much closely connected, and then that time we are not told. Otherwise, if some far away relatives are there, that does not affect us so much, then we can continue with our services, deity worship and all. It does not, especially for devotees. Of course, if you are not devotee, then you have to follow. But if you are devotees, you continue doing service to deities and here.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. I thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a beautiful and practical class. Very nice points that we generally first you started with one point that we does not change ourselves, but we want change in the results. That is what I do every time. I don't change anything, and I'm like, why is my life is not changing, or why I'm not able to concentrate, why I'm not getting more Krishna Bhakti? First, I have to change my daily day-to-day life. Then only these changes can be seen actually. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Every part. But regarding Ekadasi, you were saying that how we should not fast on Dasami day. Sometimes, Prabhu, what happens is one Ekadasi happened. I live in between of both the temples. Like one is like 1.5 hours far and one is 3 hours far. They also had a different dates. Like one had on Monday and one had on Tuesday. I was like shocked what to do. Sometimes I don't know if I did right or wrong, because even I am not closer to that temple, right? Even I'm living 1.5 hours far away from the temple, so 3 hours far away from the temple. So what should we do, Prabhuji, in that situation?
You follow whichever is the closest temple geographically. You follow that. That will be sufficient.
Yeah, that's what I did, because I thought 1.5 hours is little bit closer, so let me follow that temple and do it. And also, Prabhuji, one more question. Sometimes Ekadasi falls on next day. So on Ekadasi Tithi, we don't fast. So how we have to observe? Like only fasting is on that day, different dates, or sadhana, everything should be done on the different date, or how it is? Like the main Ekadasi we are missing, right? How do we do, Prabhu, that one? Like Abhishek and everything?
Follow everything on that day, whichever is given for us in the calendar. That is the day we have to follow everything.
Okay.
Chanting, Abhishekam, everything, whatever you are doing, do in that on the day. Whatever day is prescribed.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a practical class. After a long time, I heard very nice class. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, do you have some time, Prabhuji? There is one more question.
Sure.
Yeah, Mataji. Hemangi Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. I am
Yes,
hearing. I am audible. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My son is studying inter first year and he is preparing for some exam. He is for that exam he is always asking Krishna, give me some more marks or some better rank. Is it correct or not, Prabhuji?
no problem, Mataji. He can ask and you tell him, you just don't ask. You should chant 2 rounds for to get that also. You tell him to chant also for that. Akama sarva shikam udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena jeta purusha param. You tell that he can chant also for getting good marks.
He is also chanting, is also doing, Prabhuji, but asking Krishna is not correct or right or wrong. I am not understanding. So what to do?
Sukadeva Goswami is himself telling, you go to Krishna only, whatever you want. Material things also don't go to anybody. Go to Krishna.
Okay, that is.
Because see, the more important in Udharade, Krishna is telling, whoever is there, Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukurtuno Arjuna. Artho arthar jignasi jnani chavar. So they're all, according to Krishna, they're all Udharade. So that is not a problem only. To go to Krishna is more important. For what you are going is not important. Going to Krishna is important. So let him do it.
Prabhuji, I'm online, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji? That my husband's relative died, no, my aunt, uncle died, and tomorrow Ekadasi, Prabhuji. Can I
follow Mataji? Yes, you have to follow Ekadasi. You can go to temple also.
I can follow.
Yeah, because you are not emotionally so much connected to the person. Are you feeling separation from that person because of his missing? You are feeling any
my
separation?
husband's
You can go.
not he is an elder person that we give respect. You can go and do. You can fast, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Gail Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, just to follow up on your last answer, when you said that it matters more that you go to Krishna than why you go to Krishna. So doesn't that depend on what your level of faith is? For a person who has come to the faith, to the level of pure devotional faith, right? For such a person, they should not chant for, let's say, good grades or better job or things, material things like this, whereas my understanding is that if you don't have yet that level of faith in devotional service, then for such a person, maybe it's okay for them to chant for those reasons. Is that correct understanding?
Yeah, that is correct. Somebody who have pure devotional faith, for that time also they are in so much crisis, they can chant, Krishna, I am not able to handle it, please help. So their time also, pure devotional faith also they can chant. That's not wrong, but basically they should know that this is material. Ultimately, I want Krishna. I don't want all these things.
Okay.
If they have that, like say now I am going to some say health crisis and I say, Krishna, I am not able to chant. No, I am not able to do anything. Please help me. So it's not wrong. We can do, and we can tell somebody else to chant for our sake extra. We tell also devotees, Prabhuji, can you chant? Maharaj, health is not good. Now we are asking for health of Maharaj. We are chanting extra rounds for health of Maharaj. So that is not wrong.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
I think Vardhana Mataji has dropped off. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, once again for such a beautiful class. Oh, you're there, Mataji? Please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji. My phone
Very grateful to you, Prabhuji. I would like to offer my obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpataro bhyasya kripa sindhu bhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Ananta Koti Vaishnav ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Radha Pramod Prabhuji ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Very nice.
Hare Krishna.
Gauranga, Nityananda.
Thank you everyone for joining today's class. Hare Krishna Lalita Mataji. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna Dinabandhu Prabhu. Thank you so much for joining every day. Thank you Komadiki Mataji. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna Komadiki Mataji. Nice to see you. Hare Bol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone for joining every day and giving your sweet association in the call. We are closing the call for today. Hare Bol.